Good evening. We're in our Old Testament studies here at Cleveland Community Chapel. We are on Psalm number 6, just 10 verses. Uh, Another Psalm of David. We could refer to this as a psalm appropriately, or as a song, or even as a prayer. And the heading of this Bible says a prayer for mercy, as these past ones we've been studying and the future ones too say they're prayers, but they're prayers that were set to music, meant by David to be set by music. And so I guess it can be a musical prayer, which maybe that becomes a song. But David was quite the songwriter, as was his son Solomon. Later on, the Bible tells us Solomon, he composed, I think it was over 3,000 songs and psalms and proverbs. Let's look at this one David did in Psalm 6, a prayer for mercy, to the chief musician with stringed instruments, obviously not meant to be sang in the modern Church of Christ, because it's meant to be sung with stringed instruments, and upon sheminith. Can you play the sheminith? I'm told that's an 8-stringed harp. So we still use stringed instruments in church, though, don't we? We got acoustic guitars and electric guitars, and even the piano is a stringed instrument of a kind there. So mandolins, ukuleles, what have I seen? Banjos, all this stuff can be instruments to praise God upon. Verse 1, his prayer that's set to music, here his musical prayer is, O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, in thine anger, neither chasten me in your hot displeasure. Or it indicates that David realized, and we've read it in Psalms, or in 2 Samuel, 1 Samuel 2, David did a lot of things that he deserved to be rebuked in God's displeasure and hot displeasure, what was it, or in his anger. And David realizes that, but David's like, he's not saying, Lord, I don't deserve to be rebuked by you. But he's saying, just don't do it when you're mad at me, God. Don't do it in your anger or your hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me. He didn't try to act like he wasn't guilty, just like all of us. What we plead for is God's mercy. And he said, have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I'm weak. I'm a human being, O Lord. Heal me, for my bones are vexed. My soul's also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver my soul. Save me for thy mercy's sake. Or another way I think of saying, Lord said, don't save me because of who I am, and don't, but save me in spite of who I am. And my salvation will be not so much about me, but it'll be to your glory. Save me for your mercy's sake. For in death there's no remembrance of thee. In the grave who'll give you thanks? David said, Lord, I know I deserve for you to give me the death penalty, but said, Lord, as long as I'm living down here among the living, I'll be a testimony to you. I'll praise you. You forgive me and save me, and I'll be a walking testimony. But Lord said, I can't praise you if I'm in the grave. I'm weary. Verse 6, and my groaning all night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with tears. I was making my bed. I cry in bed, Lord. I think David was crying over not only his enemies we're going to see, but also his past sins too. That's another way of saying, Lord, I'm repenting on the inside because I'm crying in my bed and crying on my couch at night. My eyes consumed because of grief. I'm experiencing grief. It waxes old because of all my enemies. And the biggest enemy that we have is sin. It waxes old because of my enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. I don't need to be around you. For the Lord's heard the voice of my weeping. I want to be on God's side. The Lord hath heard my supplication, or my prayer. The Lord will receive my prayer. And let all my enemies be ashamed. And let them be the ones that are sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. So it's a prayer for mercy. And we can take that Old Testament prayer of David's and sometimes make it our own prayer, can't we? We'll see you next week. We'll do Psalm 7.